throwaway account because this needs to stay secret for now. I call me Anthony 1932 years old, have been with my current GF, call her Michelle 1933 years old for 4 years, no plans of marriage, and one time she cheated on me, drunk, mistake, blah blah blah, whatever, I forgave her. We are pretty much best friends that do everything together and live together. Other than the one instance of cheating, we have had no major issues and live a pretty good life. She does not want marriage or kids. I do though. It's a hard no for her. Recently my ex, call her Nicole 1932 years old, contacted me over a promise we made back when we broke up. When and if we were both not married by 32, we would find a way to be together. Some backstory on her and I: childhood friends, started dating in middle school, dated through high school. She was accepted to her dream college and so was I, on opposite ends of the country, Virginia Tech for her and Stanford for me. We did long-term for 2 years until deciding to let each other live their life and be more connected to maybe someone closer if it was going to happen. This was a mutual decision and we broke up contact at that point so that we could move on. Her parents still talk to me on occasion, live 4 hours away. Same with sister 20 minutes away, and her grandparents 2 hours away, but never about her per my request. So flash forward, I have been getting calls from a weird number once every month since September and just did not answer because I don't answer numbers I don't know. Figure if important they would leave a message. Ex's sister comes by and says, "Hey, this is from Nicole. She said you can read it and respond if you want, and if not then she will understand soon enough." For the life of me I had forgotten our weird promise, but the letter goes as this: "Hey Anthony, I know neither of us have been in contact in the last 10 years, but am asking if you still remember the promise we made. I have no right to ask of it, and if you have moved on then it's okay, as I want you to be happy. First and foremost, I want you to know this isn't a desperation attempt because I am lonely." My sister was quite keen on giving that as the probable reason as to why I've been feeling this way and why I am bringing up that old promise. This is more along the lines of I just can't imagine my life with anyone else. I had been on many dates and had one relationship that lasted over a year, but there was always this lack feeling in me that, well, in all honesty, they weren't you. You're the guy I knew instantly when we're young that I would want to be with forever. The guy who made me smile, that I could wake up next to and was genuinely happy knowing that we were together. In my mind you, Anthony, have been my only want and desire. That day we decided to try and move on because of the distance. I won't lie, took me about a year to realize how stupid that was. It was mutual, but my feelings are that I pushed you towards it. I honestly feel like the first suggestion of giving time to each other to finish school and not have to try and coordinate our lives was the stupidest mistake I could ever have done. Anthony, you are my soulmate, my love, my life, and that is why what comes next I say with all fear aside. I am ready to leave everything and find a new job, to move back to Kindle and be with you. I'm fully prepared to do this if you even think there can be a chance of us again. I love you, and nobody else will ever take the place you have in my heart. I talked to my parents and friends. They are in full support of this also. Thank you so much for being there for my parents when they needed help moving and working on Dad's bike and truck. I had no idea until a few days ago. I will be fully committed to being yours. I want to be part of your life and want you to be in mine forever. Growing old, seeing the world change, the lives we live together as one, and most importantly I just want us to be happy. I've wasted enough time holding back what I have wanted to say for the last few years. Anthony, I love you so much. I want to live my life with you. I'm prepared to leave it all for you. And lastly, my love, my childhood friend, my soulmate, I'm more than prepared to be your wife and be the mother to our children. If I don't hear back by the end of the month, I will assume you have moved on for the better and will do my best not to reach out again. If you decide otherwise, I have left my number and email. Love, insert nickname from childhood, Nicole. To be honest, I don't know if I should respond or what I should do. She left her number, one that has been calling me, and her email. I'm conflicted a lot really. I literally cried when I read the letter and it brought back a lot of emotions that I did not think were still there. Since Michelle, Nicole and I all went to the same high school, they both know each other, and I'm honestly afraid Michelle will tell me to go be with her without a second thought if I told her about Nicole reaching out, only just knowing how she is as a person. I've been debating it since getting the letter yesterday, and since I always see good advice here, I thought to ask the Reddit family. If this isn't the right subreddit, I can repost somewhere else and apologize if so. Edit. 9:58 p.m. Pacific Standard Time 6/18. Lots of great advice. Tomorrow Michelle and I are going on a hike, so I'm going to bring up what I want and need out of a relationship to be happy. We'll update tomorrow all. Edit 2, 1:15 p.m. 6/19. I talked to my current GF first. We had a big talk that was the last 6 hours we were hiking about what we are both wanting in the future. She made it clear that kids and adoption are out of her plan and suggested that we should just be friends if that's what I truly want in the future. I told her that I will still be friends with her no matter what since all the things we do together, and she laughed and said no kids, and I keep my best friend who loves to do the same things I do. Cha-ching. It's all good, rather we both be happy in the long run. Don't feel too bad or think this is a mistake. We then talked about the letter from my ex and she pretty much said Nicole sounds crazy, but if it's something I want to pursue because of the history we had, then she has no ill feelings of me going that route. Also said if it doesn't work out then I can always go back to plan, no kids and freedom. Thanked me for bringing it up, then in her typical fashion joked about me going to be blue-balled for a while. Rest of the hike was pretty much us talking like we normally do, then debating lunch. When we got to the trailhead I asked if she wanted any alone time or not. She said no, and that she eventually thought this would happen as we got older. Asked me if we can still do the friend stuff until something else happens in our lives, and I told her yes of course. She said no harm in that then, and that was that. We're at the mall for her girls' lunch and I'm sitting at the table like a weirdo, huh? Yeah, until I call up the ex and see what she is like. That is it for now. Update. 2 years later. Good evening Redditors. A while back 2019. I posted here in relationship advice about an ex that reached out after a decade. Recently I was messaged by a few different people asking for an update. Whether you three had been refreshing the page since then or it just randomly showed up in your searches, I wanted to post up the conclusion of what happened, what is still happening, and the journey since the post was made. After Michelle and I ended our relationship kinda, nothing changed aside from living together and sex. Nicole and I started to make plans for when she came out here for her grandma's birthday. Talking on the phone a lot, emails back and forth, we decided on waiting to video chat or send pics to another since it was not too far off when she would be visiting and we thought it would be a good surprise. The initial hello was awkward as hell. When she got out of the terminal, I recognized her right off the bat and was amazed that she pretty much looked exactly the same as when I last remembered. I had seen pictures at her sister's and parents, but I was floored on how much she hadn't changed in the last 10 years. Getting into the car we kinda just stared at one another for a minute and she started off with, well, if you don't drive anywhere, people are going to start honking, smart guy. It started our week-long catching up journey. We first went to go get some food and decided on pizza. Oh yeah. And it was pretty easy going from that moment on. We shared stories of what life has been like, showed off scars, looked at each other's trips and vacations, shared each other's hobbies. She asked about our old group of friends and who's still around. That small first meeting changed everything in life for us both. I won't go into specifics or minor details on the following dates and days, but to say that week went by in a heartbeat is an understatement. When it was time for Grandma's birthday it was like old times again. The family was easy to be around, we all joked and laughed and didn't have much of any problems throughout the week. Our music taste was the only problem, lots of fighting over that radio dial. The goodbye felt painful. Our week of vacation was over and it was time to get back to our lives half a country apart. Flash forward a few weeks, and we decided that I'd go visit her this time around. Phone conversations were going great and airfare was cheap enough. Texted before I got on the plane and told her my arrival time, landed and felt like I was ghosted. Not there to pick me up, was not answering the phone, didn't respond to any texts. Facebook said last online 4 hours ago. I started to feel like maybe this was some joke on my behalf and was worried. About 45 minutes go by and I'm walking towards the hotel when the phone rings and I find out she was so antsy about me coming that she spent the night awake, and upon hearing I was on the way, promptly passed out hard. By the time she got to me I was a sweaty mess but was apologetic all the way to her place in the following 2 days. We hung out the entire time pretty much doing what we could not do where I live, days at the beach, swimming, me getting in a small amount of rock hounding while she looked for critters, and eating all the Cajun food I could ever hope. In a nutshell it went great, and other than the constant bald jokes I had shaved my head, it was all fun. Meeting her friends, her dog, Hanging out and doing things we each love was just tranquil in every way possible. When it came time to say goodbye, she asked if I had any vacation time left, and if I did, if she could come back up for longer, and I of course said yes. 4 months go by of back and forth traveling on weekends, always on the phone, and by that point I feel like it's time. I asked her if she wants to move in with me, immediately said yes, and we made our last vacation week into a road trip to bring her up to where I live. Our dogs got along and she was able to transfer to a new apartment based pretty close to where we lived. It was a dream coming true, and it too went by so fast that honestly it feels like it was yesterday. She actually asked me to marry her a few months later, and I of course said yes. She had glow-in-the-dark rocks set up to ask me in our yard when we went up to the deck to watch the stars. I feel like I am going on a rant here. So much for not every detail, right? Hey hiya. Well, it's been close to a couple years now since everything started. We have a beautiful daughter together, Ariana adopted. We had issues. She would and be able to give birth. Our dogs are jerks and doofuses. Michelle and Nicole have met and we are all friends again. They actually hang out a lot together. She has moved on and we still do a lot of our favorite hobbies together as a group or separately. With COVID and us being at home non-stop together, it's been just fine. Were things perfect? No. But nothing ever is. We had our issues in the beginning and still squabble over stupid things at times. To everyone that was part of the initial journey, I hope you enjoyed this follow-up. This was the best decision, and my only regret is that we didn't reconcile our relationship earlier. This has went by in a flash, and honestly I can wait to see what the future holds for us. Each day is refreshing and a smile rarely leaves my face. I get to spend my life with not only my first love and childhood friend, but also with great friends and family that are always there for us both. As for Michelle, 4 years is definitely enough time to know if a relationship is going to last or not. People already know in their gut that they will be mostly happy with ease, or if there are things looming in the future that could be problematic. Michelle knew they had pretty much run the course of the relationship and was not going to fight for a future they did not really have. She also probably felt he was digging for incompatibilities because he wanted out. There's no reason to hold on to someone who doesn't want to be with you. Plus she was able to keep the friendship until her new man thinks it's weird for her to do friend stuff with her ex. That was the first story, and now we are going to listen to today's second story. I can move. If I move it becomes real and I have to accept what I saw and think of what's next. I came home from work early and saw my sister's car, thinking maybe she was dropping off some food from her job. But no, I walk in and see my husband and sister naked in my kitchen. The kitchen I paid for. As soon as I registered what I saw, I got into my car and left. I kept driving, just driving until I found the hotel I at now. I don't want to believe it. I don't know what to do. My sister, my only family, and my best friend, the one who's supposed to be there for me and support me. My husband, my person, my other half, the one who's supposed to love and respect me. The two most important people in my life have ruined everything. I blocked them both on my phone. I don't want to hear any of the bullshit excuses they'll come up. I don't want to confront this. I want to go back to this morning when everything was fine. Comments. The my only family part is what hit me hard. I so sorry OP. Yeah, we cut contact with our abusive parents 7 years ago. Thought we were supposed to have each other backs, always. Update 1. I didn't think I needed to explicitly say this, but by it I meant they were naked and f***ing in the kitchen. I admit mentioning that I paid for the kitchen was odd and kinda funny, but anyone that knows me knows that the kitchen is my pride and joy. So yes, when I saw my sister and husband fucking in my kitchen, it stuck with me. And yes, they did see me. When I got to the hotel I cried for a few hours, and then I just wanted to tell someone, anyone. The two people I would talk to when something happened in my life were the two I needed to talk about, and it was 11 something in the evening, so I wasn't going to disrupt my friends' evenings and burden them. So instead I came to Reddit thinking not many would see it. The response I received was overwhelming. I want to say thank you to everyone that sent me kind words and advice. Thank you so much for all the virtual hugs. I know I only commented once. It's because I had so much to think about and do. I appreciate all the love and support. There was so much amazing advice given in the comments. Although a lot of it was American-based, I still appreciate it. But one thing I did see a lot was to unblock them and keep the texts and calls as evidence, so I did do that. After posting in another good cry, I knew that I had to get my shit together. I didn't have my sister or any family to help, so I had to do it myself. I started researching what my next steps were. In the morning, my friend called me saying my sister contacted her wondering if I had been in contact with her. I told her what happened and she very kindly offered her spare room and her day off work to help me sort stuff out. I called in sick at my job and my friend helped get things done. I got in contact with my friend who works at a bank and she helped me start sorting my financials. My friend also found me a lawyer to consult with. After my phone consultation with the lawyer, I was so overwhelmed. I now know why so many women don't divorce their cheating husbands. It's such a lengthy, expensive, and emotionally draining process. I, fortunately, make a stable income and can support myself, and we, fortunately, don't have kids. I have to remember that things aren't going to happen in one day. It will all take time. As for the house, unfortunately his parents did buy it for us, and to be honest, after what I saw, I don't want it. I will try to get reimbursed for my beloved kitchen, otherwise, it can burn for all I care. This has been super draining, but I knew I had to talk to them. I already knew there was no coming back from my husband, and when I checked his messages they were exactly what I thought they would say. "I'm sorry. It's not what it looks like. We didn't mean for it to happen. Please come home. I love you blah blah blah." Just absolute bullshit. A small part of me thought maybe I could find it in me to forgive my sister as we only have each other. But after I opened her messages all hope was lost. She used the same excuses we heard our father use when he cheated on our mother and beat us. She said the same things our mother would say when she would excuse our dad's behavior and also beat us. I spoke to her this morning and asked her to tell me straight up who, what, where, when, and why. She told me back in July when I went on a girls' trip she was at our house and joked to my husband that I would cheat on him on the girls' trip because that's what always happens. He said nah, and they joked about it, but she said he could get even with me, and they ended up doing it once. One time lead to 2 to 3, then to whenever they could do it. There was never any evidence or signs or anything that I was going to or even thinking of cheating. I told her we were done and there is nothing she could do to bring us back together. I later received a call from an unknown number. It was my mother, who I haven't spoken to in 7 years. Turns out my sister has been in contact with her and told her what had happened, and my POS mother, the same woman who beat me for breathing wrong, had the audacity to say this is what I get for taking her daughters away from her. It hurts so much. I know things are going to get messier and this is going to be a long few years. I've now lost all my blood relations. I need to get all my shit and find a new place. I want to show them that I can and I will thrive without them. Comments. I'm very proud of you for taking charge and standing up for yourself. I know it very hard, but you got this. You will get through this. Thank you for your kind words. It pretty hard losing the only family I had, but I trying so hard to stay optimistic. Betrayal like this is f***ing devastating. It will be long and hard and draining, but I will make it. Hold your head high and cut all of them out of your life. Do his parents actually own the house, or did they just give money? Cut off mother and sister for good. Your sister had a piece of work. They gave my ex-husband the money for the house, so it under his name. And yes, my sister can join my other and do whatever. They no longer related to me. Out of curiosity, have you asked his parents if they knew what was going on? This will give them the opportunity to hear what actually happened rather than the lies he'll tell to cover his bad behavior. As soon as I started receiving messages from his mother, I knew he had been feeding them a false narrative. She'd been calling me names for bringing my cheating backside and my slutty sister into his life. She never liked me because of my background and thought I should forgive my other. Unfortunately, all I'll hear from them is the bullshit he told them. Update 2. I actually forgot about this account until recently, and when I logged back in I saw so many people still commenting, messaging me and checking up on me. To those people, thank you for your kindness. Since so many still ask for an update and I already shared such a big part of my life, I may as well give a small update. Back in October, my life was in chaos, but I was determined to soldier through it and show them that I can make it without them and succeed. I had to meet with my ex to talk about the house and he kinda gave up and we decided to sell the house. I was reimbursed for my beloved kitchen. At first, my sister would show up at my job and my friend's house, but once I told her that I would get the police involved, she stopped. I haven't seen her since February. I did hear from my pathetic excuse of a mother again, but that was also shut down and I have not heard from her since the end of last year. I from NZ, so my ex and I have to be living separately for 2 years before we can divorce. Although I want nothing to do with him, I not too fussed. 1 year is almost done. I started therapy which has been healing. I wish I had gone earlier. I have moved into my apartment and I was promoted at work. I have also gone on 2 girl trips and had some extra fun these times as I was a single woman. And I also just started seeing someone. He has been very kind. The OOP hit the nail on the head. It is so hard for many people to divorce their SO because of how codependent relationships get financially. I glad though she got out and managed to cut them all out of her life. As much as I want to set the record straight with his family and friends after the lies told by hubby and sis, it probably just better to let them think what they want to think and move on. Glad she updated. I remember reading this last year and wishing her all the very best. Thanks for listening everyone. If you enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Reddit Zone to never miss a future upload.